Welcome, everybody, to this week's edition of Valpo Football Weekly, presented by our friends at Lakeshore Bone and Joint Institute. Brandon Vickery with you. Glad to be joined by the head coach of the Valpo football program, Landon Fox, as we get you ready for week two in just a few moments. But let's take a look back at week one first. And I think the thing when you play some of these high-level opponents early in the season, you do get an opportunity to any small mistakes are exposed. We'll get to some of the positives a bit later on, but I'm sure penalties are one thing your staff has really looked at over the last few days. What'd you see in terms of what happened on some of the penalties on Saturday?
Yeah, just too many pre-snap penalties, and that to me, we have to do a better job as a coaching staff, making sure that the guys are in position to be ready for a punt or offensively, and then also the players executing. When we have plays go in, we have to be able to communicate those plays in a fashion that allows you not to have pre-snap penalties, be it and where it was on punt and offensively, and so that's has to be a point of emphasis in making sure we clean that up. And those are easy to eliminate. I mean, that has nothing to do with talent. And so easy to approve upon those penalties going into next week.
Mike Mansour's 61-yard reception was certainly a highlight from an offensive standpoint. What'd you see on that particular play and how that developed?
Yeah, I was excited about what, Mike was able to do, come in and, very well executed play and able to get him the ball in the flats. And then, the blocking was really good. He was able to get up the sideline and create a big play, which led to a touchdown, which was good to see. Thought he was going to score, but it was good to see, hey, he was able to get stopped and we were still able to punch it in down in the red zone.
It's been amazing the tradition of quality punters in your time as the head coach, from Ben Neisner to Evan Mathis, and now strong debut for Sam Johnson on Saturday. What is it? How nice has it been to have that sort of weapon in the punting game over the course of your time as head coach?
Yeah, going into the game, we felt very strongly about what Sam could do, and then he left no doubt in terms of when he went out there and punted really well for us on Saturday, and quite frankly helped us eliminate some of those pre-snap penalties that we had on punt. So we were very fortunate that way. Now we got to learn from it, and utilize Sam and his ability without those pre-snap penalties is huge, but. Sam has a lot of talent and a lot of different abilities to how he punts the ball, and we got to use that to our advantage. And when I say that, pre-snap penalties all of a sudden pushes you out of a chance to pin punt. And he has a variety of different kicks that he can utilize to help us. And I was a little surprised. He did a great job of getting the ball high and in the dome. That maybe they didn't have a little trouble securing some catches. They had the one bobble, and so I thought that may come into play.
What are some other bright spots as you look back at the film? What else did you like about the way you played Saturday?
I think you hit two of them, Mike Mansour and Sam Johnson, but you look on the offensive line, Jake Russell, a redshirt freshman played well for us on the offensive line. You're excited about a guy like, hey, Tyler Threet, who is a freshman, knew he may have ability to be on special teams and goes out and plays very well in the special teams game, had, a number of different tackles. And so those are the things that get excited about when you see that individual play. Wow, okay, that's a guy that's going to be able to continue to help you through the year. So
We'll get back to football in a moment, but I did want to take the time to ask you about getting the chance to stop at the Field of Dreams movie site. Like, how cool of an experience was that for your team, and why has that been a staple of your program to have some activities on the road outside of just playing the football game?
yeah, I have a very, 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 very strong belief in the student athlete experience. To me, it does not take away from the football game. To me, it actually enhances it because the relationships that you're building during those times is huge. And when you do that, you go out and play for one another. But we're gonna do things together. I liken it to a family vacation where I had the opportunity to have the family together and kind of nobody else can get to them, and we have an activity together. And this was a Field of Dreams, and it was really cool that we had the movie and we put in about 2 hours before we got there. And on our bus, the bus I was on, the movie ended, and now next thing you know, you're driving on a stone road going to the Field of Dreams. And for me, as a little bit older, that was kind of a movie when I was younger, and to remember that, and then all of a sudden you're on this stone road leading to the Field of Dreams, you pull up, and it was just like, wow, this is really cool. And then it was really neat. They allow you to play on the field. And so we had the whole team out there playing, baseball. And it was just enjoyable to see the guys enjoy the movie and then, hey, okay, the field, and then just spending time with each other, which is huge.
We have more time to spend together on the road this weekend. Let's look ahead to the upcoming opponent at Youngstown State, another Missouri Valley Football Conference opponent on Saturday. What's the scouting report on the Penguins?
I would say this, and I was gonna kind of lead into this with the previous statement, but we have to execute better. I thought that after the game, and sometimes you get hesitant about what you tell the team after a game, win or lose, because you haven't watched the film. And I just didn't feel like we executed at a high level. And that's as coaches, that's as players, like just play within the scheme, do what's asked of you to do, and execute your assignment. And the 100 players that we have or the coaches we have execute within the scheme, and that's the emphasis. Now that being said, I mean, you're very playing a very talented team, out of Missouri Valley. Lost a really close game to Villanova, who's a very good team. But both those teams were playoff teams last year in FCS playoffs, and so we're going to have to execute at a high level and really play better in all three phases: defensively, offensively, and the kicking game.
There he is, the head coach of the Valpo football program, Landon Fox. Again, it's Valpo at Youngstown State, a 1 o'clock kick on Saturday Central Time. You can tune in on ESPN Plus, and we will hope that you'll follow along as the Beacons take on the Penguins in week 2 of the Valpo football season. We'll also talk to you again next week on Valpo Football Weekly, presented by Lakeshore Bone and Joint Institute.